Back in the Jags offense, this time out of gun doubles halfback week, a 2x2 set. And the play is wide corner, probably one of the most sensible plays in the entire game, where any of the 5 routes can get open with reasonable reads and only one hot route. So you don't have to create this play at the line of scrimmage, it's pretty much already set for you to get going. It has the ability to attack many different areas of the field, so you can simply avoid where the user is and attack weak areas of the coverage you're facing. And although we won't really get into it here, you also have the ability to block 7, max protect, or block 6 to the left side or to the right side to be effective against these heavy blitzes as well. So let's get started with wide corners out of doubles halfback week in the Jags playbook. Okay, so first thing we'll do is, of course, go over man coverage. So right here I set up a cover 0 blitz, though this, any of these routes are going to be able to get open against man coverage in whatever, cover 1, off cover 1, cover 0, press cover 0, cover 2 man, whatever. These are all going to get open for you nicely. So we actually have a lot of good man beating routes here, and right away you'll probably notice the outside release fade on the left. As long as you have a good receiver with good release and good deep route running, he's going to get open against any sort of adjustment they can have with their man coverage. If he's okay wide receiver, like if he doesn't beat some of those thresholds, he can still get open against the standard press coverage, but he won't necessarily get open against, shading over the top and stuff like that. So right away, I don't even have to show you. I've shown you guys a million times, but this is obviously going to get open over the top here. And then, but what's interesting here, we do have the option to max protect our defense here, or we could potentially keep one of those guys on their routes and just block one of them. If we don't, respect their 6-man blitz too much, or that they're going to bring 7 or whatever, we can just block 6 like that. And the wide receiver will get around the guy, and we have our instant 1 play. Against cover 2 man, you can hit that down the sideline for a big gain, if not a touchdown. If they're playing off man, so off cover 1 or off cover 0, you also have the ability to motion snap this outside release fade to be able to get over the top. So I would just motion this guy across. First of all, that's going to signal to me that this is in man coverage because that corner's following him across the field. Of course, we're going to want to set up one of those guys in protection over here, so we have a little bit more time. And then, once he gets halfway to his spot on this side, we'll just go ahead and snap that, and then he'll be able to beat his man over the top just like that. Even without press coverage, you got 5-6 yards ahead of him for an instant 1-play touchdown. So you also have your really nice corner route here on the tight end. So I would actually look at this, if my user is over here, maybe on the running back, what I would do is, I would block the running back, and then I would attack the corner route right here. So that's going to get open every time, just like that. Hopefully, if you're a little bit speedy, you can rack that up the field a bit. Likewise, if they're maybe over here with their defender, maybe on the tight end, well, then you can block the tight end and work towards the running back. So I would block the tight end. And then this running back route is really nice. He gets open against anybody. Usually you'll have 3 or 4 or 5 yards of separation. You can rack that up the field. So already 3 really nice man beaters, actually 4 if you think about it. We also have the ability to hit these backside routes. Okay, so if they're playing off coverage, this drag is going to be really nice. So from that slot wide receiver, we're always going to be putting him on a drag, no matter if we're coming up against man, cover 2, cover 3, and you'll see that later on in the video. He doesn't always get open, as I showed you in the last video of my cover 4 palms thing, is that usually press man can take away those drag routes, but it's always something to look at. Sometimes he can get open, and then we'll see from there. So we'll check it out in the replay. I'm not going to hit it, but it does have the ability to get open if you have a better wide receiver than they'd have a corner, or if he's playing significantly off of him. So if they're playing 3-4 odd, pinch buck O, pinch buck 0, that man defender is going to be a safety, in which case he's playing way off and you should be able to hit him underneath. But the main thing, what I want to show here, and let me just flip the play here, is that this dig route is going to be really, really important to us against all sorts of different coverages. So to really make this offense tick, what I would do is I would put in specialist on the wide receiver that you plan on having over there. He's still going to be fine, but what it's going to allow you to do is essentially get open against press man coverage or off man coverage every single time when you otherwise couldn't have. So I'm just going to add you another option there, though it's not necessarily totally necessary. So we'll go ahead and we'll block the tight end over here. Again, we're coming up against press cover 0, and we're going to throw the dig route, and we're going to look at the drag on the replay. So just like this, if we get some time in the coverage, this guy always wins, and we could potentially turn that upfield for a score as well. Okay, so let's look at the replay here. The drag, he kind of beats his man. He's got a step on him, but even if you catch that, he's going to make a tackle. So, best case over there, you can 4 or 5 yards. Sometimes you can, Williams really isn't the best guy to be running that. Usually you'll have your Tyreeks or whatever. But like I was saying, that can be an option, not the best. But anyway, if you have an in specialist over here, whether that corner is, has abilities, the best man coverage guy, Deion Sanders, best press, if you can find those guys, if they're playing press or off or whatever, he's always going to win. And he's always going to catch that. So even if there's a safety over the top looking to lay a big hit, he's always going to catch this. Plus, with the rack boost, you get a little bit of boost, turn that upfield like I showed you there, we can score from there. So that's against man coverage. It's going to be really, really effective for you. Now, in terms of which side of the field you're running this play on, it doesn't really matter. Everything I'm going to show you works towards either side of the field. It's just that for certain coverages, it's going to work a little bit better. So against man coverage, it really, really doesn't matter because, again, they're just simply wide receiver, cornerback matchups. All these routes are going to get open for you. Maybe it depends on where your user defender is kind of sticking, and maybe if you want to create a little bit more space, doesn't really matter. Against cover 3, what I would do is I would set strength to the field. It just allows these route combinations to get a little bit more open. In terms of the outside release fade, over here, in general, against cover 3, it's just going to be something to push that cornerback. It's not really going to be something we're looking at too often, except if they're playing press coverage. So right here, if they're playing press coverage and they're not doing any adjustments in terms of changing that guy to an outside quarter or an outside half, you can usually get around him with this outside release fade. So just like this, you'll get that bad bump animation, and you can, if you have a better wide receiver, you can rack catch that and get your score that way. It's something worth trying for sure. But otherwise, it's just a simple progression read to the left side of the field or to the right side of the field, really depending on where your user defender is. So, if they're if you're playing cover 3, they're going to be on this guy or this guy. If they're on this guy, maybe attack the left side of the field. If they're on this guy, maybe attack the right side of the field, and we'll show you a number of ways we can do that. So if they're over here, we're going to be attacking the left side of the field, primarily with that deep dig route from our number 1 wide receiver over there. It's going to be really, really good against any of these zone coverages. I already showed you against man, it's going to get open if you have that man or that in specialist. Against zone, there's really no zone in the game that can cover that. So the one adjustment, like I've been saying, is just convert this in from the slot to a drag. It just works out a little bit better in terms of the entire spacing of things, and it gives us another option late on the weak side of the formation. So really against any flat that they're running on cover 3 right here, we can hit that deep dig. Curl flat extends it a little bit, so we have to wait a little bit more. So potentially the pass rush can come in, but it's still always going to get open there. And usually, it's such a deep route kind of away from the middle of the field that even if your opponent is using this guy, unless you're running it over and over and over again, they're not going to tend to go over there. And especially because you have this nice little mesh point here between the running back and the slot wide receiver, plus the corner, that's something user defenders tend to key on. That late dig is usually a bit of an afterthought for them. So if I go to cloud flats here, cloud flats are even easier because they immediately shoot outside. This is something I like to do in general, is that I look at the technique of that slot defender right there. If he kind of hangs in the middle a little bit, I know he's a curl flat, and I have to wait a little bit more, potentially look towards the other side of the field. But if he shoots out immediately, it's going to be a hard flat or a cloud flat, and then I can throw this, pretty much right at the cut right here. I can throw that, and I can get open. And so you have a nice combination with that dig, is that if it finds a really nice sweet spot in the zone without taking too long to develop. Plus, if you have that in specialist, even if they put, say if they put this guy on man coverage over here, he's going to beat him inside, and then you're just going to have even more space. If I go ahead and look at this, he beats the man coverage, he beats the zone, and then you have even more space right here. So you really have to user that yourself. Next thing we're going to go over is this nice little pocket over here at the mesh point of the slot wide receiver and the running back over here. So, the flat defender is going to go wide, the hook is going to stay down on that underneath route, and then you should be able to hit your running back right here for easy at least 5 yards every single time. So, 5 yards isn't terrific, but it's something that will add up over time, right? You do 2 of those, you got yourself a first down. And then it's just another thing that the user has to consider, right? They can't immediately shoot out to that dig or the corner that we want to hit later. This is just something that else they have to think about. And not, again, man coverage can't defend this halfback route. He'll beat anybody. And then he just finds that nice little pocket that even if I'm running cloud flats or hard flats, we're going to be able to hit him there. So just right here, wait for him to break outside. Right there, and we got ourselves 5 yards. Maybe you can go forward for another 6 or 7. So you essentially have a high-low to the left side of the field with a dig over there and the underneath route from the running back. And then we also have a 3-level flood concept to the right side. Of course, we're never really going to hit the fade over there if they're playing a regular cover 3, but we do have a corner and a drag combination say if our user is over here and he wants to key on the dig route that he has to user, otherwise we're going to get open on that. We're just going to look at that. We're just going to wait, be patient, wait for our drag to cross the other side, and we're going to hit him over there. So against the curl flat, we just go right here. He gets a little bit held up, but we're able to catch that and get 9 yards. And then of course with a hard flat, we can't hit that drag route coming across, but of course we can hit that corner route over the top. So we're going to wait for him over here. Corner route's going to clear, and we get 20 yards that way. And with most of these people running cloud flats, there's actually 2 options here. You can hit the corner route and the underneath drag route. But again, we're really only looking towards that side if our user defender is over here, because primarily that dig route is going to be our best option. But if they have to user that, then we're just going to go work over here on the right side. So he's going to stay over there. I'll get it back on the defensive lineman, do our same adjustments over here, and we're in cloud flats. So of course we can hit the underneath, so I'll show that first. So against cloud flat, we hit the underneath route right here. We get 5 yards, potentially 6, 7, potentially a strip fumble, and he takes it the other way, but how often does that happen? But the other nice option against cloud flats, and like I was saying before, it's good to always, even if we're planning to attack to the right, I'm always looking at that slot defender over here and looking at his technique right after the snap. Again, if he shoots out, I know it's not a curl flat and I could potentially hit this. If he shoots out, if he stays in, it's a curl flat, I can't hit it. If he shoots out, it's going to be a hard flat or a cloud flat, in which case I'm just going to do a simple high-low read, either throw that corner route or throw that underneath route. So I'm going to do the same thing again. In this case, we're in cloud flats right here, and I can hit that underneath like I just showed you, or we can find this nice little pocket right here, throw an underneath route, possession catch that, get our 10-15 yards. Now, if they're doing crazy stuff like base align, this guy's going to be brought in. Maybe they want to blitz this guy too. They're trying to meta up your reads or whatever, your pre-snap reads. You always have the option to set the bubble RPO as your audible. And that's always going to be a good option. You can just go ahead and snap throw that, and you should be able to get 10, 14, 15 yards. So that's cover 3. Against cover 2, you're going to be, again, these things can work to either side of the field, but I would set that outside release fade to the field. So you're running your strong side into the boundary, and primarily it's because we can, get a big gain with that outside release fade. If you're confident in cover, if it's cover 2, just go ahead and throw that. Maybe put the tight end on a streak in this case, just to run the middle read defender through the field and hold that safety a little bit more. And if we have those good stats on this guy, we can catch this there and get 20 to 30 yards. Otherwise, we're going to be running everything pretty much the same. Everything really works out. The dig route, again, gets open against any sort of combination of coverages that they can run under this cover 2 base. So again, we're going to be looking over here. If our user's potentially over here, maybe they're putting this guy on a deep third, they're usering this guy. There's, the corner route, all the underneath routes they have to worry about. If we don't want to hit that outside release fade, well, this is always going to get open right here. Maybe they're running soft squats over here, so that cornerback is going to convert man-to-man coverage on that dig, but we know that man coverage is no match for this. Just like that, we catch that, get 15 yards. And if for some reason you don't want to hit that, you have the nice option to hit the running back underneath the cloud flat for 5 yards. So the cloud flat's going to go. We throw this down the field here, we get 5-6 yards. Again, this halfback route, unless it's straight up man coverage, if it's zone, not the greatest, but it's always going to be a consistent 5 yards for us, unless they're doing something like hard flats, which is just going to open up the corners and the digs even more. So that's the left side. The dig, again, against any combination of zones and mans, is going to get open. If our user goes over here to start to try to take that down, then we can start to work our way to the right side of the field. So same thing over here. Again, outside release fade's always going to be there, but you know, for whatever reason, if they're bringing out the safety over here, we can't always hit that because then he'll be able to cover that. But we can hit the drag route underneath, just like this. Wait a little bit, you know, 5 yards at the minimum. Maybe we can turn that upfield. And then you also have your corner route. Again, we're not looking for that corner route to, you know, get above the flat defender. We're just gonna find that nice little sweet pocket. The user's away from him. You got this pocket right here. Low throw that, possession catch. You got 14 easy yards. You know, of course, if they're running hard flats, then you can be a little bit more patient and a little bit more aggressive. So that hard flat's coming down. We can be a little bit more aggressive right here, and we can catch that over here. But you know, often you don't see that. So I would just throw it a little bit earlier. So that's it for this play. You have a lot of options against anything that they throw at you. You know, of course, you don't want to be running one play against, you know, anything for the entire game. You still want to switch it up, and hopefully I can bring towards you guys some more plays out of the Jacksonville playbook. But you know, even with this, you can go a long way, you know, depending on what the user is doing, depending on a few of their simple adjustments. I mean, you can always hit that dig route pretty much against anything, and if the user has to go to that, then you have 4 other really good routes that can get open in a number of different ways. You know, especially against man coverage, you have the ability to be flexible in how you're blocking it, and you can still have a lot of good options with your other 4 routes, or you know, if you're max protecting your other 3 routes as well. So a lot of good stuff. But remember, you know, that dig route is really almost your bread and butter here. You're going to be hitting that to really annoy your user and have to take them out of the game. Again, I would really suggest that in Specialist. I think that's pretty reasonable to get, especially in Ultimate Team, and it's going to be really, really effective for you, just like that. Always getting 20, 30 yards, getting big chunks down the field. Okay, that's it for this one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in the next one.